Is that $80 leaf blower just as good as the one that costs $329? We have a bunch of different brands to test today, so let's get the testing underway and see which brand is the best. In the first test, we'll see which air blower makes the most airspeed and airflow. Then we'll compare performance moving leaves and then wood chips. Finally, we'll fasten 10 leaf blowers to a bicycle and take it for a ride. At a price of only $80 for just the blower and not the battery and charger is this Atlas brand, which is sold at Harbor Freight. You'll need an 80-volt battery for the Atlas. I wasn't able to find a kit with the battery and charger included. With the battery and charger, the total cost is around $240. Brushless motor for longer life and extended runtime. 605 CFM and 150 miles per hour. We're going to test that. Automatic speed control as well as a turbo button. I'll be using an 80-volt 2.5 amp hour battery for the testing. And the Atlas is a little slow to get up to speed at 0.8 seconds. The Atlas is made in China. The air tube diameter on the Atlas is very close to 3.4 inches. With the battery, the Atlas weighs 7.67 pounds. At very close to 2 feet from the sound meter, the Atlas is pretty loud at 101.9 decibels. Let's compare performance using this air blower dyno. The pipe that's attached to the weight scale is 1 foot long with a 6-inch diameter. I'll place the air blower pipe parallel to the top of the conduit and run the blowers at the highest speed setting. And the Atlas performed very well at 6.3 pounds. At a bargain price of only $99 for the blower, the battery and charger is this Enhulk brand. Includes a 20-volt 4 amp hour battery. It claims to produce 400 CFM and has a brushless motor. 90 miles per hour maximum airspeed. On-off button and a speed adjustment switch. The blower tube end is right at 3 inches in diameter. And the Enhulk has a much faster switch reaction speed at 1.1 seconds to get up to speed. The Enhulk is made in China. With the battery, 7.87 pounds for the Enhulk. 95.6 decibels for the Enhulk. And the Enhulk made 3.85 pounds of power on the dyno. At a price of $159 for just the blower and not the battery and charger is this DeWalt brand. Includes a 20-volt brushless motor. Air volume with standard nozzle is supposed to be up to 450 CFM or with the concentrator 338. With standard nozzle up to 106 miles per hour or with the concentrator 125. The DeWalt is made in Mexico. Includes a trigger switch as well as a speed lock lever. And the DeWalt is a little slow to react to the trigger and slow to get up to speed at 1.2 seconds. The tube end of the DeWalt is very close to 3.25 inches. With a 9 amp hour battery, 8.7 pounds for the DeWalt. 94.5 decibels for the DeWalt. And the DeWalt actually made less power than the Enhulk at 3.78 pounds. At a price of $200 for just the tool and not the battery and charger is this Milwaukee brand. Up to 450 CFM or 120 miles per hour. The Milwaukee includes both a high and a low speed setting as well as a trigger lock. The Milwaukee is made in Vietnam. And the Milwaukee has the best reaction speed and ramp up time yet at 0.45 seconds. The air tube on the Milwaukee is right at 3 inches. And the Milwaukee weighs 7.3 pounds with an 8 amp hour battery. 99.7 decibels for the Milwaukee. And the Milwaukee performed about the same as the Enhulk at 3.84 pounds. At a price of $279 for the blower, 2 batteries, and a charger is this Makita brand. Includes a 36-volt brushless motor. Up to 473 CFM and 120 miles per hour. Comes with a dual port charger, 2 5 amp hour batteries. Includes a 6-stage air velocity volume selection dial with variable speed trigger. The Makita includes an onboard battery life indicator. The air blower is made in USA. The battery appears to be made in several countries, and the charger is made in China. And the Makita has a very fast trigger reaction speed, but it takes longer than the Milwaukee to ramp up at 0.8 seconds, the same as the Atlas. The end of the air tube is about 2.8 inches. And the Makita is by far the heaviest yet at 9.1 pounds. 93.6 decibels for the Makita. And the Makita performed about the same as the Milwaukee at 3.81 pounds. At a price of $298 for the blower, battery, and charger is this Greenworks brand. It claims to make a very impressive 170 miles per hour and 730 CFM. The Greenworks has an 80-volt brushless motor. And the controls include a trigger, turbo button, and a cruise control. The Greenworks is made in Vietnam. And the Greenworks comes with a 4 amp hour battery. And the Greenworks takes about a half a second to react to the trigger but ramps up quickly. And the Greenworks is by far the heaviest yet at 11.7 pounds. And the Greenworks is extremely loud at 105.3 decibels. And the Greenworks is by far the most powerful yet at 8.13 pounds and takes the lead from the Atlas. At a price of $299 for the battery, the charger, and the air blower is this DeWalt brand. The first DeWalt blower we tested had a 20-volt system. This one has a 60-volt brushless motor. Includes a DCB115 battery charger. The battery is 9 amp hour at 20 volts and 3 amp hours at 60. It claims to make up to 600 CFM or 125 miles per hour. And the DeWalt has immediate trigger response, 0.75 seconds to get up to speed. The DeWalt is made in Mexico. The tube on the DeWalt is very close to 3.5 inches. And the DeWalt weighs 9.4 pounds. 101 decibels for the 60-volt DeWalt. And the DeWalt performed good enough to move into third place behind the Atlas. At a price of $300 for just the blower and not the battery and charger is this Milwaukee brand. It claims to provide the highest constant power. We're going to test that. I'll be using 2 high output 8 amp hour batteries for the testing. The previous Milwaukee blower only requires one battery at 18 volts, this one 2 at 36 volts. 600 CFM and 145 miles per hour. Full throttle in under 1 second. The Milwaukee is made in Vietnam. And the larger Milwaukee gets up to speed just as fast as a smaller version at 0.45 seconds. The tube end is very close to 3¼ inches. With two 8 amp hour batteries, 10.8 pounds for the Milwaukee, 97.5 decibels for the Milwaukee. And the Milwaukee performed about the same as the Atlas at 6.14 pounds. At a price of $329 for the blower, the battery, and the charger is this Ryobi brand. The blower only requires one battery for use, but the kit comes with two 4 amp hour batteries. Includes a 40 volt brushless motor. It claims to make 730 CFM at 190 miles per hour. This blower is part of their Whisper series, the quietest range of products. Includes a trigger lock, and a turbo button. The Ryobi is made in Vietnam. The end of the air tube is very close to 3.5 inches. And the Ryobi is a little bit slow to react to the trigger, but it does ramp up quickly, 0.95 seconds. 9.17 pounds for the Ryobi. And the Ryobi makes the least amount of noise yet at 87.7 decibels. And the Ryobi performed very well at 7.52 pounds and moves into second place behind the Greenworks. Also at a price of $329 for the battery, charger, and the blower is this Ego brand. It claims to make more CFM than the other brands at 765. Ryobi claims 200 miles per hour of airspeed with the tapered nozzle and 166 miles per hour without it. Includes a 56 volt 5 amp hour battery. The Ryobi has an airspeed trigger, a boost button, and a lock-on dial. It even comes with a shoulder strap. 3.4 inches for the blower tube. The Ego is made in China. And the Ego reacted to the trigger pretty quickly and is up to speed in 0.75 seconds. And the Ego weighs just over 9.5 pounds, 101.3 decibels for the Ego. And the Ego takes the lead from the Greenworks at 9.1 pounds. Very impressive. So the Ego did the best on the dyno at 9.1 pounds. Greenworks finished in second at 8.13 pounds, Ryobi 7.52, Atlas 6.31, and Milwaukee 36 volt 6.14 pounds. These air blowers are way too powerful for this air meter, so I bought a much better air meter that'll give us some very precise measurements. The air meter that I bought measures both airspeed as well as CFM using a pitot tube instead of a fan blade. While the tester does measure volume for round air ducts, unfortunately it rounds to the nearest inch and that won't give us very accurate information. So I'll go ahead and measure the air velocity during the testing and then I'll calculate the CFM. Tapered nozzles are supposed to help airspeed, so let's go ahead and test the maximum airspeed for all the blowers next. All the batteries are fully charged. The Atlas advertises 150 miles per hour. With the turbo activated, the Atlas made it to 1,118 feet per minute or 125.2 miles per hour. And the Enhulk claims to make 90 miles per hour, but actually did better than advertised at 93.9. I'll go ahead and use a 9 amp hour battery for the DeWalt. With the air concentrator in place, the DeWalt is supposed to make 125 miles per hour, but only made it up to 102.5. With a fully charged high output 8 amp hour battery, the Milwaukee only made it to 99.4 miles per hour, or about 20 less than advertised. And the Makita claims 120 miles per hour, and it came very close to its rating at 119.1. The Greenworks claims 170 miles per hour, but it came up short. However, 142.3 miles per hour is the best yet. The DeWalt is supposed to make 125 miles per hour, but it came up short at 112.5. And the Milwaukee claims a very impressive 145 miles per hour with the tapered nozzle, and it only made it to 124.6. With the tapered nozzle, as well as making use of the turbo button, the Ryobi is supposed to make 190 miles per hour, and it came up short 143.6. And the Ego made the most airspeed yet at 155.7 miles per hour, or 44 miles per hour less than advertised. When it comes to airspeed on a fully charged battery, the Ego came out on top at 155.7 miles per hour. Ryobi finished in second at 143.3, Greenworks 142.3, Atlas 125.2, and the 36 volt Milwaukee 124.6. Let's compare CFM performance next using fully charged batteries. I'll remove the tapered nozzle since that'll give us the best performance. We'll come back to this test later in the video to compare maximum runtime as well as how CFM performance changes as the batteries drain. With a tube diameter of almost 3.4 inches and 9,610 feet per minute without the tapered nozzle, the Atlas made 598.8 CFM, which is very close to its 605 CFM rating. At just over 8,200 feet per minute, the Enhulk is making 419.8 CFM, which is about 10 CFM less than advertised. The DeWalt has a larger blower tube and makes less airspeed than the Enhulk at 7,446. And the DeWalt makes 431.5 CFM, or almost 20 less than advertised. And the Milwaukee is supposed to make 450 CFM, and 8,748 feet per minute is very close to 446.8. At 10,525, the Makita is at 450 CFM, or 23 less than advertised. And the Greenworks claims a very impressive 730 CFM. At 9,967 feet per minute and a blower tube at 3.6 inches, the Greenworks did by far the best yet at 704. The DeWalt's blower tube is smaller than the Greenworks, and it makes less airspeed at 9,041 feet per minute. 590 CFM is about 10 less than advertised. And the Milwaukee's blower tube is a little bit smaller than the DeWalt's, but it does make more airspeed at 10,450 feet per minute. And the Milwaukee actually did better than its 600 CFM rating at 606. And the Ryobi's blower tube is the second largest in the lineup at 3.5 inches. At just over 10,300 feet per minute, the Ryobi made almost as much CFM as the Greenworks at 689. And the Eagle claims to make the most CFM in the lineup at 765. At 11,795 feet per minute, the Eagle moves into the lead over the Greenworks at 743.5 CFM. CFM production has a huge impact on performance, and the Eagle did the best at 743.5. The Greenworks also did very well at 704.1, Ryobi 689.1, Milwaukee 606, and Atlas 598.8. Before we test the air blowers moving some leaves, let's see how quickly the air blowers can move about 50 pounds of wood chips made by a chainsaw. The test area is 5 feet wide, and the blowers will have to move the wood chips about 10 feet. I'll use the airflow concentrators on the air blowers during the test. And the Atlas moved the wood chips pretty quickly in only 26.3 seconds. Enhulk makes about 200 CFM less than the Atlas, and the airspeed is about 35 miles per hour slower. And the Enhulk takes more than twice as long as the Atlas at 54 seconds. And the airflow concentrator helped the DeWalt with airspeed, but it also hurt with CFM production. And the DeWalt took even longer than the Enhulk at 61 seconds. And the Milwaukee doesn't have an airflow concentrator and is making more CFMs than the DeWalt and the Enhulk at 446.8. And the Milwaukee finished the job in 50 seconds to move into second place behind the Atlas. And the Makita makes great airspeed at 119 miles per hour, and it's even faster than the Milwaukee at 41 seconds, but the Atlas holds on to the lead. At 142 miles per hour, the Greenworks makes a lot more airspeed and CFM than the Atlas. And the Greenworks takes the lead from the Atlas in only 20.5 seconds. And the DeWalt makes 590 CFM at 112.5 miles per hour. And the DeWalt is almost as fast as the Atlas at 30.3 seconds. And the Milwaukee is faster than the DeWalt but slower than the Atlas at 28.2 seconds. And the Ryobi makes a lot of airspeed at 143.3 miles per hour and is almost as fast as the Greenworks at 21.5 seconds. And the Eagle makes the most CFM and airspeed in the lineup, and it's by far the fastest on this test at only 16 seconds. Very impressive. So the airblower dyno correctly predicted the top 5 finishers in this test, with the Eagle taking first place in only 16 seconds. Greenworks finished in second at 20.5, Ryobi 21.5, Atlas 26.3, and Milwaukee 28.2 seconds. The size, shape, and weight of leaves varies a lot, making them a very poor choice for comparing blowers, but let's go ahead and compare the blowers anyway. I'll spread 4 large buckets of leaves in a 64 square foot area. And the airspeed and the CFM output on the Atlas did a great job of moving the leaves. And the Atlas blew the 4 buckets of leaves across the finish line in only 22 seconds. At only 90 miles per hour, the Enhulk just doesn't make enough airspeed to work efficiently. And the Enhulk took half again longer than the Atlas at 33 seconds. With the air concentrator installed, the DeWalt makes a lot more airspeed than the Enhulk, but it does make less CFM. Once again, the DeWalt finished behind the Enhulk in 36.7 seconds. Just like the wood chip test, the Milwaukee is faster than the Enhulk and the DeWalt, but finishes behind the Atlas. And the Makita makes pretty good airspeed at 119 miles per hour, but less CFM than the top 5 blowers. And the Makita moves into second place behind the Atlas. And the Greenworks makes a lot more airspeed at 142.3 miles per hour and over 700 CFM. And the Greenworks is by far the fastest yet in only 14.5 seconds. And the DeWalt makes almost as much CFM as the Atlas, and the DeWalt is almost as fast at 20.2 seconds. And the Milwaukee makes even more CFM than the Atlas, and the Milwaukee barely edges out the Atlas in 20.2 seconds. In the previous test, the Ryobi performs very close to the same as the Greenworks. And the Ryobi actually finished ahead of the Greenworks on this test by 1 second at 13.3 seconds total. And the Eagle makes the most airspeed and CFM, but finished a second slower than the Ryobi. On paper, the Eagle should have easily won this test, so it's probably the operator. So the Ryobi did the best at moving leaves in only 13.3 seconds. The Greenworks and Eagle performed very close to the same at around 14.5 seconds, Milwaukee 20.2, and Atlas 22 seconds. When I was a teenager, I saved up money to buy this skateboard. So let's put it to use and see which air blower offers the best thrust to weight ratio. And the Atlas is extremely light and powerful at 2.07 seconds. The Hulk is heavier than the Atlas and less powerful, 2.98 seconds, almost half again longer. And the DeWalt is even heavier than the Hulk, and it's the slowest yet at 3.23 seconds. The Milwaukee is heavier than the DeWalt and more powerful and moves into second place at 2.83 seconds. And the Makita barely edges out the Milwaukee at 2.77 seconds. And the Greenworks is very heavy and powerful, 2.07 seconds, the same as the Atlas. DeWalt is heavier than the Atlas and less powerful and slower, 2.22 seconds. The Milwaukee is over a pound heavier than the DeWalt and is slower at 2.3 seconds. The Ryobi is heavy at 9.2 pounds and very powerful, 2.07 seconds, the same as the Atlas and the Greenworks. Even though the Ego is a little bit heavier than the Ryobi, it's also very powerful, 1.97 seconds, the best yet. While this test has very little practical application, it'll help us figure out the best configuration for placing 10 leaf blowers on the back of this bicycle. If tool weight is a factor in tool selection, the Milwaukee 27-24-20 is the lightest at only 7.3 pounds with a 5 amp hour battery. Atlas is also pretty light at 7.7, Hulk 7.9, DeWalt 722B 8.7, and Makita 9.1 pounds. If you're looking for the leaf blower that makes the least amount of noise, the Ryobi is by far the best at only 87.7 decibels. 93.6 for Makita, DeWalt 94.5, and Hulk 95.6 decibels. At maximum speed, the Eagle has the longest runtime at 15.6 minutes. Greenworks also did very well at 14.9 and Milwaukee 28-44-20, 14.7 minutes with 8 amp hour batteries. I placed the bungee cord directly behind the trigger for the tool balance comparison. So tool balance can definitely impact user comfort, and the Atlas is very well designed with the blower tube at a 25-degree angle. And the Hulk requires more wrist effort to aim downward when in use since it's actually too heavy in the back. With a 5 amp hour battery, the DeWalt and the Milwaukee are very well balanced. And the Makita is pretty heavy with its two 5 amp hour batteries, but it is very well balanced. The Greenworks has a large and heavy battery, which hurts the balance on the tool. And the DeWalt and the Milwaukee blowers are very well balanced. While I like just about everything with the Ryobi, some of the other blowers are better balanced. And the Ego is a very well balanced tool. Going back to the CFM test early in the video, I tested all the blowers for CFM performance and maximum runtime. And the Atlas did very well with CFM production, only dropping 12% during the first 10 minutes. The Ryobi started off a lot stronger than the Atlas, but they were pretty much even by 6 minutes. And the Ryobi used up its battery about a minute sooner, but the Ryobi kit does come with 2 batteries. While the Milwaukee doesn't start off as strong as the Ryobi or the Atlas, by minute 6, it's actually outperforming both of them for CFM production. It also has a longer runtime of almost 15 minutes. And the Greenworks starts out producing more CFMs than the Ryobi, Milwaukee, and Atlas, and it maintains a higher CFM performance until the battery is fully drained. And the Ego starts off stronger than the Greenworks, but the performance does drop off quickly to about the same as the Greenworks for about 5 minutes. By minute 6, the Ego dips below the Greenworks, but the Ego does have a longer runtime. To keep the chart from becoming too busy, let's start a new chart with the bottom 5 performers. And the Hulk starts off at 419 CFM, but quickly drops below 400, and the battery is fully drained in under 10 minutes. With a 5 amp hour battery, the 20-volt DeWalt blower makes a little more CFM for the first 5 minutes than the Hulk and lasted about 3 minutes longer. And with a 5 amp hour battery, the Milwaukee 27-24 started off stronger than the Hulk and the DeWalt and maintained a higher CFM performance. However, the battery was fully drained in less than 9 minutes. And the Makita starts off stronger than the other brands and maintains around 450 CFMs until the batteries are fully drained. The 60-volt DeWalt starts off at 590 CFM and drops to around 520 by minute 11. So which air blower is best? The Ego dominated the showdown with an average finish of 1.4. So taking everything into consideration from price, weight, tool balance, and performance, it's the best air blower in in my opinion. The Greenworks had an average finish of 2.4 and it's a great air blower. Compared to the Ego though, it's a lot heavier, makes more noise, and it just isn't as well balanced. And the Ryobi finished in third place and I like it quite a bit. It provides a lot of power while it keeps the noise level down. The leaf blower powered bicycle is pretty sketchy and I don't recommend it. All the videos in this channel, including this one, are viewer suggested. So if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care and I look forward to next time.